Was the First Republic successful in its aims? The answer is no. First, Emilio Aguinaldo sent diplomats to several countries, and Felipe Agoncillo is considered as the most important diplomat at the time, as he was sent to the US. Remember, during this time, the American we have the Spanish-American War going on. No? So he was sent to the US at the time, but was not able to meet with any government official as he was not recognized. Second, the Treaty of Paris was signed on December 10, 1898, which effectively sold the Philippines from Spain to the US for how much? $20 million. At the same time, Spain was allowed to export their goods to the Philippines for 10 years. Now, the Philippine-American War then happened on February 1 of 1899, and after nearly 2 years, Aguinaldo was captured. On April 1 of 1901, he made a public declaration where he appealed that the sovereignty of the US be accepted. Two commissions were then dispatched to the Philippines in order to assess the Philippines and provided recommendations to shape the policy of the American government regarding our country. The first commission was led by Jacob Sherman, and the second commission was led by William Howard Taft, who stayed and became the first Governor General of the Philippines. It should be noted that despite the surrender of Aguinaldo, not all heeded his appeal. Several guerrilla movements were still active, and several prominent personalities during the revolution who did not pledge allegiance to the US were banished to Guam. So some of them were named by Agoncillo. They were Apolinario Mabini, Artemio Ricarte, Maximo Hizon, Julian Herona, Pablo Ocampo, and Melchora Aquino. I'm sure that some of the names ring a bell, no, sa inyo. The U.S. Congress then passed the Philippine Organic Act of 1902. This act provided a Bill of Rights which is similar with our current Bill of Rights. In terms of how religion was viewed, the Cooper Law stated that, quote, no, as in no, wala, no law shall be made respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, and that the free exercise and enjoyment of religious profession and worship, without discrimination or preference, shall forever be allowed. Now, several executive departments were also established, like Commerce and Police and Public Instruction. Filipino representation in the US was also guaranteed. However, they had no voting rights. Lastly, the Philippine Assembly was also guaranteed, but it would only be established 2 years after peace and order was proclaimed in the country by the President of the United States. In 1916, the Jones Law was enacted, so it guaranteed independence as soon as a stable government is established. Now, as you can see on your screen, the Jones Law established a government that was patterned after the US government in terms of having three branches: the executive, legislative, and the judicial branches. However, since we were being controlled by the Americans at the time, the executive, who was the governor general, and the vice governor, as well as the members of the Supreme Court, was appointed by the US president and needed the approval of the American Senate. The vice governor was automatically the secretary of the Department of Instruction. Now, the rest of the secretaries were appointed by the governor general and was approved by the US Senate during that time. So with regards to the legislative branch, Filipinos gained control over the lawmaking process with the establishment of a bicameral legislation. It should be noted, though, that Filipino participation in the lawmaking process started in 1907 with the establishment of the Philippine Assembly, and that the veto powers resided in the US President and the Governor General.